Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the best day of the week. It's Wednesday, February 22nd. My name is Day 9, and it's time for me to learn some Dota with Coach Purge. Purge, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing not only good, but I'm really excited that we changed the white balance on your camera, thereby making you look like a real boy.
Yeah, that's true. We discovered we're on full white, which makes me somehow whiter than I actually was. I'm pretty white, but this hides it a little bit.
But I mean, you looked like you were auditioning for the role of the Invisible Man. Like, you were like translucent pale, man. It was like, oh god, I hope that's just the light. And it was! It was. I didn't want to say anything for the first month, but we made it through. And you're a real boy.
That's not true. You should see the bottoms of my arms, dude. Like right in here.
Yeah, there it is.
It's
Translucent, I found it.
You can see the body hair on the other side of my arm. It's pretty out of control.
Well, either way, I'm excited to be here on this fine Wednesday, ready to continue my journey to learning the Dotas. Just a brief recap of what we've done so far. We've done some laning stuff, we've done some trading stuff, we've talked about just the mechanics of items, and last week was about power curves, which you gave me the homework to be playing more carries, and I didn't get to play as many games as I wanted because I went out of town on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. But I played about 11, and I've incidentally been choosing some PA, and she's very fun. I have some trouble last hitting with her, but hopefully we'll get to do some more carry stuff today and see if today's lesson applies.
Today's lesson applies to basically anything you want it to, because we're kind of doing advanced mechanics stuff, which is, I decided to call it hero manipulation since there's some confusion about the term mechanics. In Dota 2, at least, the word mechanics is always meant not only the game's mechanics, like how the numbers play out, but also how you use your hero, how you move your hero, how you use your spells, how often you attack, things like that. It's just saying that guy's mechanics are really good. It's kind of similar in StarCraft, is it not?
Well, I mean, when I was looking through the lesson plan, I was wondering, is this the equivalent of StarCraft Micro? Like the idea of how to maximize the efficiency out of every single thing?
Yeah, it is actually. And a lot of those things do carry over. Like when StarCraft 2 came out, I started playing and I was awful at macro, but I'd have like 6 stalkers and I would like kill every roach with none of my stalkers dying. I'd be like, I did it! And then like the equivalent army of roaches would approach me and I'd have to do it again, and I wouldn't have been macroing the whole time. But that kind of lesson absolutely applies. It's basically the same engine. It's Warcraft 3 versus StarCraft 2. So there are a lot of like similarities in that way in terms of that. So yeah, we're just gonna cover all this stuff.
Funny you bring that up, because I'm historically not really very good at micro, because in Brood War, there was not a lot of like Twitch micro in the fight sort of things. Like in StarCraft 2, there's like banelings, you'll try to like split your Marines up, or now the Disruptor and Legacy of the Void. But in Brood War, it was a lot of, I only control 12 Zerglings at a time, which is insane given how many Zerglings you have. Can I get all of them to attack? And that's all I would spend my time doing. So for StarCraft 2, the micro element, and of course in Dota 2, is actually probably one of my lowest skill sets in terms of the real-time stuffs.
Most people would not expect that. Whenever a StarCraft 2 personality comes to Dota, they're like, play Broodmother, play Nature's Prophet, play Lone Druid,
play
nothing
Chen.
else. Nothing else. Chen, Enchantress. Not allowed to play anything else. But I've always kind of felt like the micro is slightly different in that SC2 is always more about like wave micro, like controlling big armies, whereas Dota is always more about like trying to imagine that each one of your creeps is its own hero and not making any mistakes while you do that. Which is obviously very difficult. So yeah, we can hop right into it. Attack animations is the first one. This is a staple of most RTSs, but certainly of Dota 2 as well. And the way that attack animations work is every hero has their own attack animation, and the way that it works is they start animating, which is their character model moving their arm to like throw a fireball or something. And the moment that the fireball appears and comes out of their hand is the attack point. So that's the moment that the attack has been thrown and exists in the game. The animation afterwards, which is like completing the throw and following through and like twisting your body, is the backswing. The backswing doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. It looks really nice. But it doesn't mean shit. So if you pull up clip 0, nothing special about this.
Oh my gosh.
Order everything. There's some basic
it is special. There's a lot of programmers who watch. We want to make sure that we index them in a way because they were completely confused, couldn't process the information.
I understand. So here's some basics. These are the level 1 heroes basic stuff. This is their Viper's attack point is 0.33 seconds. His backswing is 1 second, and he attacks every 1.4 seconds. So that means when you attack with Viper, your attack is done at 0.3 seconds, and then your hero stands there for 1 full second if you don't do anything. Animating.
And I mean, like, my understanding is that every backswing is cancelable.
Every backswing is cancelable.
Are there any exceptions to that? I mean, this, like, I honestly just view backswing as this makes the game look pretty.
It does. It makes the game look pretty, and it also, the nice part is it also gives us like a barrier of entry and making like a higher skill cap thing. So backswings are your enemy. In the Lena example, you might be confused because her attack point plus backswing is actually longer than her time to spend between. It doesn't actually make her attack slower. And these numbers are slightly wrong because the way that backswings and attack points are reduced is by increasing your attack speed. And increasing the amount of attacks you get is also gotten by increasing your attack speed. But the difference is that the attack point reduction in animation time is hyperbolic. I think it's basically divided by the attack speed, whereas the attacks every is just a straight line, just like a flat line. It doesn't curve as it goes up. So getting attack speed reduces your attack point and your backswing.
I gotta say, that was the weirdest thing for me when I started playing, was the fact that the attack point actually changed over time.
Yeah.
Because, I'm used to getting the feel of, like, a Dragoon. Which, for any of you who don't know what the Dragoon is the dumbest unit in the history of RTS games. You'd be like, go forward, and you'd be like, right, backwards! And then he'd, like, get stuck at ramped, and it was really weird because the model would actually grow and shrink with each step. Like, when its leg moves out, it has a larger collision than when it's halfway through its animation, when its legs are in. So they would always glitch each other and push each other around. Yeah, that's why
I had no idea why the micro was so bad on them, but that makes sense. If the model's constantly changing,
they're
just like constantly body blocking each other.
Yes, exactly. And so that's why they pack together. When you say move, they go... and they just vibrate uncontrollably because they can't begin their animation.
There's like one guy that's just like
yeah. And the getting the exact knowledge of when the bullet would, or I guess the ball of plasma would leave the Dragoon, was then when you could actually move it away. So since Lena was the first character I played, I just thought that last hitting was the hardest thing in the entire universe. And then Nature's Prophet was the second character I played, and I was like, oh, I get it, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I just looked at the charts, and the average attack point is between about 0.3 and 0.5. Lena is like one of 5 or 6 heroes that are above 0.6. So she has an awful animation for her attack point. The bright side, though, is that her passive gives her a lot of attack speed. So just by getting Fiery Soul and casting spells, your attack point becomes a lot better. So these are really important in the early game. In the late game, as your attack speed gets really high, the attack points are so small that you don't really think about it that much. So it's really just a big matter for laning. So that is basically some of the outliers and just some examples. I already covered how they reduce attack animations, and we can talk about clip 1 now. So we talk about that you can cancel them, but how to cancel them. So there's a couple really standard ways. Just press play, let it play. The easiest one is to press the stop command, which most heroes have binded to S. You can also get them stopped by an enemy hero stunning you. So in this example, Invoker uses Cold Snap on the Lena, and before her attack can come off of and hit the attack point, she gets stunned and she's forced to start over again. So every time you cancel the animation, you have to wind up again and throw it.
Yes, I have had this happen before. This is part of the reason why before I banned Slark every game, I banned Invoker every game.
Every game, just because you couldn't attack ever.
Yeah, no, I like the blunt solving the problem. Like, he cannot make the unit anymore. No Invoker is here.
Yeah, that's one good way to solve it. So mini stuns, you can cancel with S. You can cancel it with a new command. So if you're about to attack, you can instead move on the ground if you to cancel it as well. So there's like lots of ways to do it. You can do the same with teleport scrolls. Press S. You can issue a new movement command. You can issue a new right-click command. There's a lot of different ways. You can cancel with casting a spell as well if you want to cancel your animation. This basically goes both ways, both for attacks and spells. I know this is super basic stuff, but it's really important for the rest of the stuff in the episode.
Well, I have a question already with this sort of stuff, because I know about, like, stop and move canceling. But if I am casting a spell, like Lena's Q, don't I have to hit S? Because if I hit Q and then right-click, it doesn't seem to cancel it. Maybe I'm just
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah, I believe you're right, actually. I didn't think about that very much, but yeah, I always press S when I cancel spells, whereas when I'm canceling attacks, I do just about anything. But I think you're right in that one. I think you have to press the stop button to cancel a spell cast, and that could be any spell. The important thing is that if you cancel it before the spell is casted, it doesn't go on cooldown. But as soon as it gets casted, it goes on cooldown and it's done. For channeling heroes like Black Hole or Witch Doctor Ulti, if you put those down, as soon as it goes down, it goes on cooldown. But if you press S before it's casted, you save it. So getting used to the stop command is really important because there's a lot of times where you want to nuke a guy and then you click on a creep instead, and your hero's like, time to finger of death that creep, and you're like, God, no, stop, and you're like, and then you actually target the right hero afterwards. So
yeah, I've Laguna's bladed a range creep before, and it doesn't feel good.
But you got 40 gold.
Yeah, no, I got the shit out of that 40 gold, man.
Rare.
Let me tell you, num num num.
Exactly. So let's talk about attack moving then. So what do you do with all this extra time that you have? Open up clip 2. So now that you're canceling backswings, you have all this extra time between your attacks. Viper's example, his animation was 0.3. Oh, I'm sorry. This is continue with this clip. I got off train. So this is just showing the basics of how a hero functions when they right click. When you right click a hero, your hero walks to range of them and then they attack them. And if the hero leaves range, your hero will walk to them until they're within range to attack. So in the course of a melee, it's a little bit easier to stay close to your opponent because their range is low, which means that it's very easy for them to catch up. As soon as you get out of range, they follow you. In the example of a range, if you can continue the clip actually.
One thing that I wanted to ask about is like sometimes this happens where I just hit from a billion range.
It's in a lot of cases it lets you finish your animation because you're like, well, you got the animation in. Maybe you're slow. There's definitely bugs that exist. Like there used to be one where you could attack from like 600 away if there was a slow debuff on your opponent. So it happened a lot with PA where you just like auto attack and crit somebody from like 800 units away. But it's pretty rare right now. And the reason that it still goes through sometimes is because if you're ever playing against a hero that's way faster than you, or if your attack speed animation is really slow because they're slowing it with like Phoenix Fiery Spirits or something, then it would be kind of stupid. You could just literally never attack somebody. So if they run like more than 300, 400 units, you miss no matter what. But as long as they're like kind of close, it still hits. So the way that range heroes work is if you're within the range, they're just going to stand still and keep attacking you. But as soon as you run out of range, they'll approach until they're within range again, and then they'll start attacking again. So for ranged heroes, it's a lot more important that you actually do attack moves. So this next clip is actually going to be an example of how many attacks you can get when you are attack moving versus not attack moving.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that obviously because played StarCraft and if you've ever controlled Marines, you just go click S, click S, click S, click S, click S, like that sort of thing. Like,
and do you know why they do it? Why it's so fast? Like why you have to do it so fast for Marines?
Oh, just because they have an extremely high attack rate. Yeah.
Yeah, their attack rate's really high, and their attack point is extremely low.
Yeah, I think it's like 0. I think
so as soon as you attack, there's like bullets, light speed, just shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Versus like Hydralisks or something, they have to like wrap up, like open their head or however the shit that works, then throw their spines out. And in this example here, just a couple little counters on the right. So very few attacks by the Jug. Now he's got a lot of a backswing that he's basically dealing with. And that's part of the reason that this is taking so long. And this will be the same example of the same kind of heroes with actual attack moving.
Yeah, because I mean, I've always felt intuitively that you click attack, but this is actually going to be the first time I actually see the number difference that happens. Yeah. And I'm going to guess instead of 5, he gets 8. I'm going to guess it's like a little over 50%. Let's see. Okay. Jeez.
Looks like
it's like twice as much damage.
Yeah, it's actually an incredible difference. I could just...
Holy shit!
Let's see Juggernaut's backswing. So his attack point is 0.33 seconds. Yeah. His backswing is 0.84. So in that first clip, every time he attacks, he waits for... Assuming that he's within range, every time he attacks, he's waiting 0.84 seconds. So like the first 2 attacks that he attacked as a target, where his target was like behind him a little bit,
God,
he just sat there for 0.8 seconds. Or a little bit less than that because it doesn't. Those numbers don't take into account his agility, but it's a massive difference. You have to cancel your backswings because there's so many cases where you gank somebody or you try to kill somebody and he gets away with 1 hit, right? And in every single one of those moments, I guarantee that if you would have just attack moved a little better, you'd get an extra hit in, and you'd get a kill.
Good lord.
It's a massive change. Like attack moving is an absolute basic of the game, and it might be another reason why if you play pubs at as low MMR and you're like 2k MMR, you don't kill people that much early on unless you have like 3 heroes. Whereas if you watch pro players, they solo kill people all the time. They get double kills really easily. Like 2 level 1 heroes can easily kill another if they have the right disables and maybe like an Orb of Venom. It's like a kill no matter what because they're good at attack moving.
Wow.
The only dangerous part about it is that sometimes you will move before you finish your attack, and then you will cancel your attack and waste time.
Certainly never done that before.
Okay, and that's
no need to go into that topic.
Here's an example of Viper doing the same thing. Keep in mind, look at his backswing. You see his little neck coming back in? You might want to go back.
Hold on.
Go back and start this. Check out his backswing. It's great.
We're going to hold on. Let me do playback, speed, slower.
Okay.
All right. Wait. Is there a hotkey for slower? Because I don't have to do this every single time.
I think wasn't it like minus, or it was brackets? You told me this. Remember?
Oh yeah. Is this? Oh, so sick. Okay, let's watch this guy's head retract into a rage. Okay, here we go.
A 1 second animation for the backswing. Watch. Here it comes.
Oh, yep. There's his little head going back.
So if you're into that whole like flaccid Viper neck thing, then yeah, feel free to not cancel your backswing. But I recommend canceling your backswing because of this clip and the one immediately afterwards. The amount of attacks you get is just not even the same. You got 3, just barely.
Okay.
Keep playing.
Well, I need you to know that my guess is going to be 11 again. Let's see if we get 11 from heaven.
Okay. He even right there. He actually waited. He started attacking too early, so it wasted a little bit of his time.
And this is not with the slow. Good lord, that one was
even a little sloppy, because that second attack, he thought it was time to attack again, but he was too early, so then he just stood there. So he stood there for like 0.1 seconds, 0.2 seconds,
what a chump,
and then got ready to attack. So perfect attack moving, extremely important. That's like you need to learn how to attack move to hit like 3 to 4K minimum, because it gives you so much advantage in games.
Jesus. Okay.
So attack moving very huge. Next clip is talking about spell animations. So we talked about them a little bit. Like you said, canceling spells, you do have to do S, but most spells do have backswings as well. So this is an example of a Shadow Fiend casting his ultimate and then right-clicking to cancel it, and one of them shift queuing. So the easiest way to test this in game is just to cast a spell and then shift queue another action. Shift will prepare another action when your first one is finished. So it's really easy to test it in game, and therefore make clips.
Is that instant?
The shift queue? Yeah, it does it instantly after your previous attack is done, but it doesn't automatically cancel backswing for you. So the best usage of this almost always is Sand King. His Epicenter ulti, it takes exactly 2 seconds to channel, and when that's done, you should blink in and Burrow Strike somebody. And the thing is that Blink Dagger is a instant cast time item, and Burrow Strike is, I'm pretty sure, an instant cast time stun. So if you do it a little too early, you're going to cancel your ulti channel, and therefore you won't get Epicenter when you go in. So people would shift queue it, they would press their ulti, they would hold shift, and queue up their blink into the battle, so that as soon as the Epicenter's done, they get there right on time. Because as soon as the Epicenter finishes, it starts blowing up slowly. And if they get there too late, they do too little damage. If they cancel it too early, they cancel their ultimate.
Yeah.
So you shift queue it, that way you can have reliable internet initiation.
Reliable internet.
God, I wish we could have that.
Yeah, no, all it takes was a shift button. Yeah, well, this is weird for me because in Brood War, you could shift queue things, but it would never be as fast as if you manually issued the command. So you'd be like, go here, shift there, shift there. So he'd like walk and he'd hit the point, and then he'd go, all right. And then he'd go off to the second point. So the idea of like...
Wasn't that sloppy though? Because you'd control like 20 Marines, you'd shift queue them somewhere, and then they would all try to get to this like one point in the middle of their group. And they would all be in the way of each other. So it's like the Dragoon issue. It's like, hey, Dragoons, everybody move to that point right in the middle of the 50 of you. And then they'd be like, oh, God, what do we do?
Yeah, with shift queuing, it would get a little weird. I mean, like, people would shift queue, like, dropships and Mutalisks and Scourge and Overlords and that sort of thing. But even then, they would go to their location, stop, then go to their next location. So I sort of have it trained into me to not
I remember
do that.
They would stop moving on their point, right? They would get to it, stop, and then be like, all right, next plan, move out and move again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
So, to make sure I understand, is it that in some cases, using shift to instantaneously do blinks and stuns and this sort of thing is good, but a lot of the times it will still do the backswing animation, or will it always cancel the backswing animation if I shift right click?
It does not cancel your backswing. Shift never cancels your backswing. There's just some times where shifting is good. So some other examples. Keep in mind there's also some spells that don't have a backswing. There's also some heroes that have very low cast points. I thought Enigma actually had really long backswing on his Midnight Pulse, which is one of the reasons that people would sometimes just blink ulti because they didn't want a chance like, oh, I'm going to put Midnight Pulse down first, and then they get too far apart and then Black Hole doesn't hit. So that a lot of people just blink ulti. But Midnight Pulse cast time right now, cast point is 0.1 seconds, and it has no backswing. I was surprised to find this out. And the Enigma or Black Hole cast point is 0.3 seconds. So by casting Midnight Pulse, you're not actually endangering yourself very much. You're just giving yourself the chance that you might blink in, try to cast Midnight Pulse, and then try to cast Black Hole so fast that Black Hole interrupts your cast point for Midnight Pulse, and then you just Black Hole after all. So it's like this weird balance that ping does actually affect things if you're trying to do it really fast. Because that should be ultimately your goal.
It would avoid all of it.
Yeah, actually it would. You could basically walk to a point, shift Q the blink, shift Q the Midnight Pulse, shift Q the Black Hole. You could actually do that. In fact, I recommend it. Great point. Other examples of shift Q that are pretty mandatory, or like times I shift Q every game. When I'm TPing in, I shift Q a move command afterwards. That way, as soon as my TP ends, my hero immediately starts moving, instead of me having to wait and chancing me canceling my TP. There's a setting that you can turn off cancel TP or whatever, but this is kind of like a holdover from Dota 1. So you can cancel that. What if you TP into a lane that's defended by 5 heroes and you want to press BKB? Shift Q it. That way you know as soon as you get there, you press BKB. And you don't have to chance like, hey, maybe I'll press BKB too early, cancel my TP, and be BKB'd in my own fountain. That would suck, obviously. So there's little things like that. Shift Q can be very useful for animation stuff, but most animations do have backswings, and you do want to cancel them, because otherwise it's really going to limit your ability to cycle your spells and get them on cooldown really fast. In fact, I believe we have a clip of that. Clip number 5. This is... can get this one out of the way.
Alright, so this is queued spells, manually casted spells.
So the one on the right is, or sorry, the one on the left is just shift Q. The backswing on Sky is huge. It's like 0.1 cast time, 0.9 backswing.
Oh, I think these are labeled oppositely. I think the queued spells is on the right. Is that true, or is this?
You are nope. This is correct. Queued means shift queued, so it would be slower. Manually casted means faster.
Yeah, sorry, totally, literally, just my brain broke. Okay, so it's that there are some times when you want to shift Q up because there's no backswing that would make the shift queuing too long. So like with the blink black hole, shift queuing is good. But when there is a backswing, since it will not cancel the backswing,
correct,
it's important for you to spam.
Exactly, but not so early. If you spam it too fast, you'll cancel your animation of your previous spell, and then you'll have initiated and be like, wait, why'd that guy stun me? Oh, I canceled my silence before I casted it. So you have to be a little careful. I'm sure you've probably done this on Lina maybe before, where you tried to stun somebody, but then you cast a Dragon Slave right after, but you casted it too fast maybe, and then you never Dragon Slaved in the first place, or stunned in the first place.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same kind of thing. You have to be really careful. Do you want to play clip 4B as well?
Clip 4B.
We're going back. So, and obviously people can interrupt your spell. Spirit Breaker ulti is basically like that, but there's cases like this basically where somebody can just chain stun you.
This example.
Does this ever happen to you?
Not this extreme, but I mean, I have had like 2 or 3 stuns in a row.
Come on. Best part is when you just press play. Come on.
God, I'm turning it up so you can.
This happens a lot against Earthshaker as well. He has a pretty long cast point for casting Fissure and stuff, so if a Clockwork gets on top of him, it's pretty much dead, because he knows that he'll be able to prevent him from attacking or casting spells, stuff like that. Makes a really big difference. So, yeah, cast points are pretty important. The easiest way to make sure that doesn't happen is by BKB, or to not get chain stunned, have somebody else near you. So... do you want to hop into the game really quick and practice casting spells rapidly? And we'll mix in some auto attacking as well.
All right. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm ready to go, man. Let's do it.
I want you to take control of the Crystal Maiden that's in the Radiant Jungle. I'll just resume here.
Down the bottom right. Okay.
Yep. And then the axe is just going to be there. So what I want you to do is, oops, I'm sorry, I controlled your hero. So I'll control the axe. How about we both start where my hero is standing, and I'm going to run to the upper right, and I want you to try to like maximize how many attacks you get on me, and how long I'm disabled for. And in terms of your skill points, why don't you put 4 in Nova, 1 in Frostbite, 1 in your Aura, and then like 1 in your ulti. But you're probably not going to use your ulti in this case. So come stand near where I am, and then we're just gonna run to the right. Okay. So I want you to go ahead.
Before you do this, I know how Crystal Maiden works, but I've never actually cast the spells. I assume it would be useful for Well, I mean, can I just like cast them and get a feel for them briefly?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna do this. I have the game muted. Oh god. Oh my god. Hold on. Oh god. I can't believe I've done this. Hold on. Oh gee. Oh good lord. And All right, there
So
we
I
go.
turned WTF on so you can cast more spells. But go ahead, just get a feel for him. You can cast on me if you want. I have like 4k HP, so I'll be okay.
Okay, so, and then...
So that one prevents me from walking while it's active.
And this is 9 and... Okay, so they're both 9-second cooldown.
Yep.
Okay, so...
So I want you to stand where I am, and I want you to attack move at maximum efficiency, and I also want you to use your spells to keep me as disabled for as long as possible. Alright, I'm going to start running now. Good.
Oh, can you turn WTF off so that way I can have some cooldowns to work with?
There you go.
Yeah!
Type refresh. I'm ready. Go ahead.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is... I think I should have waited on that second ability, so that way...
Which reason?
Because you're already stunned.
Yep, exactly. Or disabled.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I'm gonna kill you.
Oops, I accidentally selected you. Okay, oh god. Because I can actually move you around. This is a great ability. That's so great. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
You're gonna need to refresh. Oh, I think it worked for you. We're good. So yeah. Attack moving is pretty huge though.
Whoops.
So you cancel your animation there. Now you're slowing. This is good. Yeah, you're doing this well.
Oh,
alright, you canceled again.
Oh, see, there it is.
So this takes a lot of refinement and just kind of like feel for the hero. CM has a pretty shit animation, so it becomes a little bit harder for her than some other heroes. But figuring out a mix and doing a mix of these things is super important.
N! Who puts this on N anyways? I'll switch it. Okay.
Shit, got some items. Oh, I have an item now.
Yeah. Oh, come on. What is this?
Let's hop back out. Get silence. So yeah, just stuff like that you're going to want to practice. I think one of my favorite ways to actually practice that is to, when I'm jungling, I'll just attack move to practice it, just to get a feel for my hero. Because you're just standing there, right? You're standing there hitting a centaur that has like 1200 HP. Attack and move a little bit, attack and move a little bit, especially if you're ranged. I do it against towers. I think that's important because if you're attack moving, there's a lower chance that the Pudge will hook you accurately. There's a lower chance you'll get hit by an arrow. There's a lower chance you'll get sunstriked. You're just basically always moving.
I don't know if this is true, but I think I do this a lot just anyways, because it's just like total habituation from StarCraft. I cannot tell for you for sure if I do or don't.
Do you remember the first episode where I was Viper and you were Ember? And you almost won that trade against me?
Yeah, that was tight.
Yeah, that's because you were attack moving, basically. Like, if you weren't attack moving, your hero would have stood there and hit me, and then stood still, and then I would have gotten distance between you, because you were slowed more than me.
Yeah.
But because you're attack moving, you always kept with me instead of letting me get a distance advantage.
I flew into a rage.
You have been attack moving, but there's also a lot of other times where you just don't do it at all.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to be consistent. If you're attacking, is really important. It's definitely a big difference. All right, so let's talk about clip 6. This one is pretty important too. So this is kind of like an extension of what we just did in game. The time that you use your disable is sometimes really important. So against a Darkseer, for example, he's got a move that makes him run at max movement speed for like 2.5 seconds or something like that. So in this case, the Venge ganked. Just keep playing. The Venge ganked and stunned before Surge, whereas this time, the Venge stuns during the Surge, which means that the stun duration prevents me from moving at max speed while I'm running away, and as such, you get more attacks in.
Little optimizations.
And here's a third optimization for Darkseer here, where I try to trick her thinking that I'm going to cast Surge, but I cancel the animation and recast Surge afterwards. So there's like little tricks like that that you can use to affect the game, because again, it's all about how far do you get, how much value do you get out of your opportunities, and messing up your attack moving absolutely changes things.
I gotta say, I think that like the most revealing thing of this entire set of videos was just the look at how many more attacks you get when attack moving.
Yeah.
It's like, it's basically double. So the idea of like, okay, now notice that you can slow this down a little bit more. I mean, it's like another way to get plus 60% damage via a slight ordering optimization.
Yeah, exactly. And there's one other thing that matters a lot in attack moving that we haven't talked about in spellcasting too, for maximization, and it's turn rates. We mentioned this in the mechanics episode that people have different turn rates, and it's true. But it takes you usually between like 0.3. It's like 0.1 and it's like 0.15 and 0.25 to turn your hero 180 degrees. So for example, to turn my hero around to cast a spell, I have to be turned until I'm within like 12 degrees of the target before I can cast the spell. So for attack moving, you're doing a lot of turning as well. So heroes that have better turn radiuses or turn rates will be able to attack move, spend less time turning. There's another hero example that's really obvious. Rubik, have you ever played Rubik before? You have, right? No? Okay.
No, never.
So the way that his stun works is you lift somebody, and then you can choose which way to throw them. So what often happens for bad Rubiks, myself included, you're running away because somebody's about to kill you. You turn around, taking time, you lift him, and then you turn around because you're like, I got to get out of here, I stunned him. But then you're like, oh wait, I should throw him away from me so he's farther away. So then you turn around again, choose where to throw him, and then you turn around again. So you basically do 2 extra turns because of it, losing
Which
like...
is getting close to a second of time.
That's like 0.4 seconds. It's like 2 extra turns. So it's definitely more.
0.25 times 3 rounded up.
Okay, but you have to turn twice no matter what. Just to turn around and lift, you always have to turn back. Yeah. So there's little things, sure. Little maximizations like that. Huge difference. In terms from there, I lost my script.
I have a video called Centaur coming up.
That's the one. That's absolutely the one I want to play.
Dude, here we go.
Play it up. So here's some more maximization. Now, when you attack somebody, you're waiting for the spell, or you're waiting for your attack to come off cooldown. So maybe sometimes you don't have to move in between attacks. You can instead cast spells. So in the clip on the right, the Centaur used stun, then he double-edged his other spell, and then he attacked to try to get as many attacks as possible. But the Centaur on the left attacked before casting the spell, putting his attack on cooldown, then used his spell, then attacked because he's still waiting, because he still has time to double edge because the hero's still stunned, and then he attacks again after. So you're filling your downtime with spell animations instead of moving. And as a result, that Centaur got 1 extra attack in that the one on the right just wouldn't have been able to do.
Yeah, I have felt this with Tidehunter in the games I've been playing with him, where when you're wailing on a camp, you do the hit, smash, hit, or you do the hit, anchor, smash, hit, hit, anchor, smash, hit, and it fits really nicely in between those animations.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the hero. Some of them don't feel very good, but other ones do. Ones that don't feel very good, why don't you play clip number 8? And you basically have to make the decision, what is more important. In this one, the Skywrath Mage has a 2-second cooldown ability. It does quite a bit of damage.
Yeah.
The one on the left is always attacking when it's time to attack, and the one on the right's always casting Arcane Bolt when Arcane Bolt is ready, because the primary damage source is from the nuke. So in the example of Tidehunter, I would say it's actually better to Anchor Smash first, maybe. Yeah. Just because you get the spell on cooldown faster, it's pretty low cooldown.
Yeah,
you have to think about that too.
Yeah, I mean, because it would be like smash, hit, 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 smash, hit. That's what I meant. Is it like deep in there? It's like really easy to fit it between 2 attack animations.
Instead of the other way where it feels like it's interrupting your attack, is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, I just felt really clever because when you were showing the splitting of attacks and abilities, I was like, I did that on Tuesday, so, you know.
That's good, that's good. Continue the clip. I think we have the second half. Is the Bristleback, kind of a similar situation in that you cast your first spell, Goo. It lowers armor and movement speed, but a lot of Bristlebacks will get into melee range and they'll be like, I need to keep gooing this guy, dude. And then they'll stop attacking as a result, where Bristleback's primary source of damage is right clicks and his second skill, Quill Spray. So the one on the left prioritizing more attacks than Goo ends up killing his target first, earlier. So same kind of thing.
If I'm playing a new hero, should I try to ask myself these questions just like really basically? Like, for instance, when you were, saying, Sean, play through with Crystal Maiden, I found that really helpful to just stop and go, okay, let me fiddle with these. Okay, if I'm trying to maximize the amount of attacks, I don't want to cast these 2 abilities at the same time. Got it, cool. And it took at most 15 seconds, but I didn't have an answer before, now I had an answer afterwards. Should I be like going into the unit tester, spawning the 2 and just fiddling for a moment before, or is this just something to be aware of while I'm playing?
I think that's if you're playing a new hero for a first time, yeah, I think it's safe to demo it. Just demo it and mess around for 30 seconds, read the skills, cast them on like a hero just to see what they do. I find that's always been easier. One of the reasons I first started making videos is because reading like that transition from like Dota 1 to Dota 2 was when all these complicated heroes came out, like Skywrath Mage came out, and Ancient Apparition, his skills are like crazy. There's so much text. You're like, I don't want to read these, But if you just see somebody doing a combo, that's how I learned how to play a lot of heroes. I would see somebody else wreck me with that combo or use it on somebody else, and I'd be like, oh, that's how those skills are supposed to fit together. Or that's the item that makes those skills easy to use. Like, oh, buy Rod of Atos on Skywrath Mage so that they can't move for 2 seconds, and then they just get blown up. Like, seeing somebody use the skills, I think is really helpful. So yeah, just demo mode it. It's really easy to do. One open clip 9 for me. So we're talking about min-maxing spell usage to maximize disable, but there's other situations that sometimes you'll have to change. Here's like CM trying to min-max, blah, 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 cast spells slowly, wants to stack disables, but he's got a BKB, so now you lose all your opportunity. Whereas if you just power through your spells while they're vulnerable, then it's better for damage potential, because by the time the PA gets unstunned, she pops a BKB and she doesn't have very much HP. So like trying to maximize your damage is basically like game knowledge and knowing where you are in the game.
Yeah.
So it definitely changes. Obviously, this doesn't cover all situations, but there's like a million different situations. Like, do they have a Force Staff? Is that guy about to go invisible because he's a Shadow Fiend, or like a Riki with a Shadow Blade or something? Or the opposite of that. So there's lots of little nuances for this, like when to use my spells, and a lot of that just comes from game experience.
Sure.
Clip 10. Another final way to maximize. Obviously, there's lots and lots of ways to maximize, but this is probably one of the other bigger ones.
Yeah.
Body blocking.
Oh, yeah. This is why I like Nature's Prophet, because I have my little tree ant guys.
Yep. And they just get
jerking around.
In that case, they didn't really get that. They didn't use their spells, obviously, but it showed that at some point the Nature's Prophet's too far away, and he's going to get too far away. And in this example, they basically realized a little leap cheating there. But at some point, they're like, okay, we're not going to kill him unless we body block. So this just gives the Venge a lot more time to actually get right clicks, not only for right clicks, but also vision, because then the Podum's always there. And at some point, the Podum could have stopped body blocking and just attacked instead, obviously. This is what you're talking about, Treants stuff. Spawn Treants, you obviously want a body block here. They helped a little bit with damage, but the bigger value is just body blocking with the Treants instead. And the easiest way to do this is to micro the unit blocking and just auto attack with your hero. Even like top level players will auto attack with their hero, wasting their backswing animation, because it's more important to ensure the body block.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is the greatest feeling ever.
Got a little Dragoon over here.
Especially with those stupid dialogue lines from Nature's Prophet, like, for the trees, go green. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I can't play him anymore.
Yeah, you're like Viper. What's wrong with that, dude?
Dude, Viper, I gotta say, I fly into a rage. That's so much better than, like, I'm attacking with poison. Everything I say is poison related. Time to poison the enemy. Like, if that's what was happening.
Is that the joke? You just hate all of his other lines so much you pretend only one exists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, more specifically, there's at least a little bit of a spread. Every single thing Nature's Prophet says is a tree pun, man.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Every single one.
He was the first batch of 30 heroes, so I guess Viper was too, though. I was gonna make an excuse for Valve there, but they clearly phoned it in on Nature's Prophet.
Well, I mean, you know, in their defense, I do think it is a fine line. In fact, this is where we got to take a moment. As much as I love to shit on the dialogue lines of Nature's Prophet, I do think that in terms of a game, probably at least one of the top 3 qualities of Dota is the audio.
Oh yeah, yeah, they have really good voice actors.
Oh my, I'm talking about all the sound effects, especially like when I'm playing Zeus. The main reason I started to play Zeus was just the sound effects, all like the clacky, sparkly stuff, or every time when Lincoln Sphere pops. Oh my gosh, I want that as like my every time I get texted, I want that to happen, man. That would be so good. Oh my god.
You can do that literally right now. It's 2017, man. I'll link you the video file. It's there. I changed my my Windows error sound effect to when you right click a building that's invulnerable. The meat mark. It's the best, dude. It's so much better than like the Windows where it's like beep and it's really annoying. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, no, I had a bug on my computer where I have all the audio levels on my computer at like 20%, 40%. Like right now you're at 40%, Dota's at 10%, this video's at 50%, just to make sure that all the levels are correct. But for whatever reason, the Windows error noise plays at 100% volume.
No matter what.
So I was just like, ah! It just like terrifies me because I've turned up like really loud, feel it in my sinus. Okay, anyways.
All right, last part of the episode. We got a little bit of a short one here. We're going to talk about chasing and juking. It's an advanced thing. It's absolutely an aspect. And the basics are it's basically like hero trifecta again, but or the holy trifecta. But you have one hero that's gonna die if they stay. You have one hero that's gonna kill if they can stay close to the person. Obviously, there's lots of ways to get the kills. Maybe they need 3 more right clicks. Maybe they need to wait 4 seconds until their spell's off cooldown.
Yeah.
And all of those little nuances kind of change how you chase. But most of it comes down to vision and seeing your opponent and knowing where they're going to be. So let's just go to clip 11 first. Talk about some basic chasing mistakes. I'm sure you know all these ones already from playing StarCraft. But
I know all these mistakes already. Is that what you're saying?
No, how to solve these mistakes, these common mistakes.
Maybe. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of times when I have to run away, I just scream. I can't feel my legs. I just begin to run away. I tunnel vision with no additional thought than, come on, man. Come on, get out of there, man.
Oh yeah, you're gonna mess those ones up. But these first two you've got, I'm sure. So
Okay.
the most basic one is right click an enemy hero, and if they end up walking to the high ground, or you basically lose sight of them, then your hero will stop chasing because your hero won't be on the top of the hill at the same time as the Pudge will be. So the PA just stops. That's if you just right-click Pudge and leave it at that.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to do instead is when they're going to high ground, you right-click on the top of the ground. That way your hero continues moving. Because if you don't do that, your hero will pause and you will lose some chase distance.
Yeah, I'm a pro at that. Oh, this is
basic StarCraft stuff. So Luna's basically any spell animations are the same thing really. If you're chasing somebody, you try to cast a spell as they go high ground, it interrupts the spell before the cast point. So then they're able to juke again. So kind of the same kind of stuff. That one you probably have trouble with sometimes. You want to just press pause there. Yeah. You probably have trouble with that one sometimes, like the cast animation. Everybody does. Like some people just have shit cast animations, and people get the juke off. But the important thing to do is start the cast before, like ahead of time. Like right there would have been fine before he was about to hit high ground, ideally.
This is, I gotta say, like the technical difficulty of constructing this video in one segment. This is remarkable. Like, look at this, 3 times just the Ihan timing whiff. Wow.
It's almost like it was a setup.
Yeah, it is almost as though we did this deliberately, Sean.
Yeah. So there's lots of ways to dodge vision. High ground, juking around trees, get something in the way, you can blink away. Lots of stuff like that. It's the absolute basics of chasing and juking, but it definitely gets more complicated. So what you're trying to do when you're juking, if you know you're going to die, is you're trying to buy time staying alive. That way maybe an ally can get there in time. You're trying to buy time so when your spells comes off cooldown, that way you can stun them and run away. You're trying to do as much damage as possible, and maybe they're being attacked by a tower, for example. You're trying to find a place to TP, a juke to walk out. That way you like trick which way you're walking. He runs the wrong way, and then because of that, you basically just get to walk all the way home. That's basically what you're aiming for. Obviously, super basic stuff. So let's go to something slightly more complicated. Press play on the clip. I believe we're on 13.
The branch block.
The branch block. This is a newer one. This was added in probably less than a year ago, but you can create a temporary tree with an ironwood branch. And by doing this, basically the path that he tried to go through is not able for him to go through. The only way he'd be able to get through is to destroy the trees, either with an ability, a quelling blade, a tango, something like this. And this clockwork was especially bad and died because it's definitely not a setup. So in 14 here, you can press play, it's fine. The clockwork reacted and actually ate the tree a little bit faster. And what the PA's goal is to do here is basically to get some distance between him and the clockwork. So at this point he realizes, oh, he's not over there, I should go find where he is, blah, blah, blah. So this is just kind of like a shitty example of juking, but let's break down exactly what juking means. When I first wrote this episode, it was the typical, I know what juking is, I know how to juke, but I didn't know how to explain it. So it took a little bit of time to do it. And what we did is we made clip number 16, which is a floor plan. So I want to explain the basics here.
Okay, I can't wait.
You ready?
I can't wait. Yes, no, okay. And this is where the ghosts live, and there's bananas and dots up here in the top left.
There's scary shit. We try to make this as simple as possible. Okay, so you're walking into like a hospital or something, and this guy's behind you and he's trying to stab you and murder you. Okay, so the goal is to get somewhere where he will be searching for. It's like typical monster movie: hide somewhere, wait till he passes, go out the front entrance, or go somewhere else where there's a gun, grab the gun, shoot him when he's chasing you. There's lots of like perfect analogies to like real life human instinct shit. Press play though. In this example, the Ember Spirit's actually pretty close to the Witch Doctor. So we're gonna phase out the Witch Doctor's icon whenever he stops getting vision, because obviously when he has line of sight, he can see where the Witch Doctor is. If there's too much path in between them, it causes issues for the Ember Spirit. Just keep pressing play. Totally cool.
All right.
So every time he turns the corner, he knows which way the Witch Doctor went. Then he gets reaffirmed that he knows where the Witch Doctor is. Constantly chasing for that. He'll get some slight vision break here, pop a tango to open the door, and then go for the TP, but the Ember was following him, so it doesn't work out.
Oh my god, sick. Okay.
So here's another example. This is where the Witch Doctor has more space for the Ember Spirit. He's like, oh, I have to figure out which way he went, because he's not necessarily seeing the Witch Doctor turn the corner. So every time, if you want to pause here, every time that he comes to a corner like this, he now has to think like, all right, which way did he go? Let's guess. You know, it could be straight, it could be to the right. He has to figure it out.
I gotta have an appreciation for this moment here where,
he doesn't know, because you get to the cross section, you don't know which way the person went. So as soon as you lose them from your sight, it's over. That is like, that's the thing I learned from Dota, actually, was that if I'm ever trying to evade somebody in real life, all I have to do is break vision. And then if they don't know which way I went, I'm set. Because I just have to like break vision and then walk in a straight line. And there's no way they'll catch me. Because then I'll leave the search area, basically. So he's searching. Oh, hey, I finally saw him. So now he has to go all the way. Technically, he should have hit a right here and let him off. But he didn't know the layout of the hospital, so it's fine. But and at this point, Witch Doctor's about far enough ahead that pretty much any move he makes from here on out is not going to be known by the Ember Spirit.
Oh, now we got Witch Doctor in the closet.
Exactly. And then he can actually get the TP off. So pretty much every case, as soon as you break vision, and as soon as they don't know which way you're going, they have to guess every time. And maybe they keep guessing correctly, and maybe he's correct at H and he leads him off and heads to G, and there's the Witch Doctor, and all of a sudden the Witch Doctor runs straight into the monster. But this is basically the floor plan of Dota 2, at least on the Radiant Tier 1 tower on the safe lane.
So just to make sure I'm understanding, here is where the tower would be, right here. Here's where my creep wave comes in. This is one of the camps right there. There's another camp right there. And I assume these X's are useful trees to cut down. Yeah,
because you can create a path. Basically, you can break an entrance that wasn't supposed to be there. That tree, the one that's right in the middle next to where the tower is. The first time I saw that one being used, it blew my mind. It was at TI2 finals between Navi and Alliance, and Havos was playing safe lane Alchemist, and he jumped into that little like crevice there. I knew you could stand in there, but by eating that red tree, the one south. Literally, there you go. Okay, that one. That's right below the tower. He got dived by 3 heroes. He jumped in that little crevice, and then he ate that tree. So basically, they thought he was juking, but he hid in the crevice, ate that tango, and then they started diving in the bottom area, thinking like, oh, he's in here for sure. It like blew my mind. But these are all like little trick things. Like if you have really good knowledge of these things, it just buys you time, lets you outplay people. They sit under tower. He ended up getting like a double kill out of it, even though he's a solo level 1 Alchemist versus 3 heroes. It's like shit like this completely changes awesome. Dota games when you do them. It's a really cool clip. I just thought of it now, that's why I didn't prep it. But if you resume the clip here, we'll get some actual map on it, and then you can kind of see what it looks like. But this is kind of like a Sanders artist rendition of what the juke spots are kind of like in the area.
Oh my god, the artistry of this. This is so, oh my god, now that it's come in, I know this! Oh my god.
So that gap on the right side, the far right side, it's actually a dead end, but if you have a tango or a quelling, you can hide over there. So there's, if you're looking for somebody and a tree's missing, maybe he juked through that spot. There's lots of like little information like that you can use. One thing I do want to talk about in terms of juking, can you go back to the last figure, please? Or actually, it's this one at the start. So I just want to see the map layout or the floor plan again.
Of the hospital?
Yep. If you'll let the Witch Doctor get to B, and then we can pause right there. You can speed it up if you want.
I want to watch it in all its slow VFX glory. Look at this. With his little glasses. Okay.
Okay, so press play for just a fraction of a second. I want the Witch Doctor in that hallway. All right, press pause right now. So the way that Dota 2 movement works is this. Let's say Witch Doctor, in this case, stops moving right there. And Ember Spirit the Dragoon wants to follow the Witch Doctor. So where he's clicking right now, where would you estimate where Ember is clicking right now?
Probably just right where the grayed out head is.
Okay. So because he doesn't know where the Witch Doctor is, because that'd be hacking or whatever, his computer will continue to move to that point. And when his game realizes that he can't walk there, what the game is going to do is like, what's the fastest way I can get to that point?
It's going to go straight up, yeah.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I'm going to walk all the way around this. It'll make a lot of sense. So when you're chasing somebody, it's really important that you click right in front of your hero at almost all moments. Because if the Ember Spirit is clicking behind where the Witch Doctor is, and all of a sudden he turns the corner and Witch Doctor is just like smiling at him, then he's like, oh, I need to walk around. And it doesn't matter if that path is like 3 miles. Your hero will be like, that's the way. That's the fastest way to that point.
This is something that really messes up new StarCraft players where, do I have visual aid? Okay, it doesn't matter. Like, here's a high ground. Here's a high ground ledge. What is this? Or I have hot sauce on my arm.
Iodine?
It's a jalapeno pepper hot sauce that I really like to eat a lot. But if there's a ledge right here and there's a unit right on the other side, they want to click on the bottom side because this click is between my unit and the enemy unit that I'm trying to get to. So if I click here, I will walk towards it. But no, because the ramp is this way. So they click here, and the unit's like, right away, sir, and they like run away from the target, and you lose that. So
yeah, it's kind of the same as clicking up the hill as you're chasing somebody. But you want to keep your clicks really close to in front of your hero, because if you do that, if you click right in front of your hero stops moving. But if you're clicking behind the Witch Doctor, your hero tries to run around. And when that happens, your hero, in a fraction of a second, will create distance. So this is one of the tricks that you can do, because creating distance is clearly the most important thing that you can do as somebody being chased, is you can face check them. You can basically walk in a path, then walk out it, and by doing that, as they're trying to enter, their hero's going to go, oh shit, and walk this way, and that's when you turn. So you just show for a fraction of a second, you face check them, their hero starts running the other way, and then you run back into the maze. And instantly you've created depth, which makes your juking easier. And you can do that by casting spells, you can do it by running faster, you can do it by slowing them, but face checking is definitely the coolest way. And then when there's a little distance, then your juking is easier. So creating that distance is really important. If you start the juke earlier, it gives you a much better chance of hiding a crevice, finding a crevice.
What you'd be saying is, like, in this spot, if this is a very close chase, I as Witch Doctor can actually stop here, let the Ember Spirit come here and just bop a little bit, and then come back around, and the Ember Spirit will be turning in the wrong direction.
Yep.
And then have to return back to chase.
And maybe he'll try to cast a spell on you because he's like, oh, there's Witch Doctor. All I have to do is cast Searing Chains or something. But maybe if you only show for a fraction of a second and his hero moves north of B, all of a sudden the corner blocks vision, and then he presses Searing Chains, which only works if he has vision. And then he just wastes his spell.
So
like, there's so much stuff like that. The only thing that's dangerous about this is if you have, like, Ravage or Centaur Stun. It's like, oh, I'm just going to AoE hit you. In a lot of cases, that's what's going to happen. Play clip number 17, please.
Sir, yes, sir. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to speed this one up. Yeah.
So by juking around the tree, the ogre knows exactly where I am, but what this is basically doing is reducing his cast range. He knows where I am. If he had vision of me, he could cast from the other side of the tree, as could the Lich in this example. This one was a little shit, but sometimes they don't know that you're going to stand there, for example. Maybe the Lich thought that the Ogre was going to wrap around the tower tree line, for example. Or like maybe like the Lich kind of showed like he was going to turn there. But there's like little stuff like this that you can do when juking to trick people, to make them think that you continued on the pathway. Like, these are basically closets in the monster hospital or whatever. Yeah. You hide in a closet, you wait till they pass, or it buys you enough time to teleport out, because you can use a TP scroll in real life or something. But like, using little tree corners like this, whenever you're teleporting and escaping, you should always either teleport like around a tree corner like that, or at the top of the cliff is another good way, because most people will be like, oh, he's going to be running, so I have to like click and keep going, and they get to the top of the hill and they keep running and they're like, oh shit, I just walked past him, and then they have to turn around and cast a spell. There's like tons of little things that buy you enough time.
How the hell does this happen? Like, I don't even understand what's happening. Like, because it looks like he is going directly left. Oh, he actually turned right at the end there.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that looked exactly like he was going straight forward. This is a crazy example. Wait, let me...
I could have chosen any of those trees. I could choose that tree that Lich was just at and TP'd right around the corner. This one just happened to look freaking perfect. I could have TP'd around this corner. I could have TP'd around the next corner. I could have wrapped 3 trees over and TP'd. Oh. And this is where the prediction of juking comes in. Is that you have to read your opponent. It's literally like coin flips. Like, if you're right behind your opponent, you don't have to coin flip. But if you're too far away, you got to coin flip every time and get really lucky. And the only time this gets easy is if you have, like, Fissure on Earthshaker. And you can be like, I'm pretty sure he's going to TP at one of these points. I'll just Fissure all of them and target the ground. But for Ogre, it's hard because he has to click on the actual hero. And even if he saw my TP animation, he walked too far, so he had to walk back again to even see me, and then he could start casting. So if it's somebody like Ogre or Lich that can Chain Frost and interrupt TP, you have to see them, and you have to see them long enough to get out. So TPing in little crevices like that make it so easy in a lot of cases to escape, because they would basically face check themselves trying to get in there, and then they'd have to walk back to see you again and then start casting.
That is sick.
Juking is very cool. It's very stylistic. Some players, like, they study the tree patterns, they mess around, they know exactly how many trees it takes, they can get you places that you shouldn't be, that people don't expect. Like, it's really cool. So that covers a lot of the advanced mechanics. That's most of the stuff that I came up with. There's some other things that we maybe could have covered, but I think it's okay to save it for other weeks. But this kind of covers a lot of new things for you, hopefully, and a lot of min-maxing that you'll need to do to become a better player.
To be a better gamer. Look at that. See, look. Oh, look at the branding.
Didn't even
look at the branding value. Look at that. Be a better gamer. There it is, right there. Boom.
So one last thing that we could do, if you're up to it, we could do some melee versus melee training. trading. I know that you had issues with this in the past, and I'm quite confident that the reason is because you weren't very good at canceling your backswings. So do you want to do a little bit of melee versus melee so you can get a feel of like offlane? Just a little.
Just a touch. Yeah, because I mean, I think the big thing that I want to do...
Do you want to just TP to the bot lane? You'll have to give yourself gold, probably. Actually, you've got gold. You're fine.
All right.
I'm going to play offlane starter in this example, and you can play
so...
safe lane Spirit Breaker. Oh, you have no gold. All right. This is what you're going to type.
Hi, Sander.
Type that, okay?
Gold 5,000. Okay.
And then, but don't buy like too much stuff. Get like a stout shield or something.
Yeah, I'm just gonna buy my starting.
Oh, okay. I just can't see your gold because you're on the enemy team. All right, just TP to the bot lane, and then we're gonna fight. So, this is basically like trading advanced. Now that you know about attack moving really well, and it's something you should think about. Just approach me. Can you see me, by the way?
Yeah.
You should be able to see Slaughter. Yeah, we can just
Slaughter.
fight. So basically, it's just like a mix of who has more advantage. So if I think I'm winning the trade, I'm just going to constantly go where I think you're going to go. Typical trading stuff, and occasionally I'll throw out a stun in, and maybe you could do charge occasionally just to... Except charge level 1's pretty shit, so I'm kind of winning the fight, and... Oops, I messed up there, so I got a little bit less damage than I should have. It's kind of the same thing. So it's basically a mix of the trading lesson that we did, and also a mix of attack moving. And getting good at that changes everything. Or, what, for example, right now we can see each other. But let's say like you're a ranged hero. Why don't you use that Vengeful Spirit to the left?
Okay.
So why don't you come after me on Slardar, and one sec. Turn
that vision off.
Vision.
Okay.
And then, if for example, do you want to drop the Bloodthorn so you don't just like two-shot me?
You know, I do. I'm also going to drop the...
That's fine. Alright, so, if I know that you trade better than me when you're ranged, then all I need to do is gap close. But it's hard to do that without boots, right? So there's easy examples. Let's say the creep wave's right below you. So as an offlane hero, I need to get way near the creep wave. So one thing I could do is just this. I'm like, oh, you know, I don't care if you try to hit me. Go ahead, try to zone me. You don't even know where I am. Oh, I'm in trees. Oh, I'm getting experience right now. Haha, this sucks for you. And I can see you because I have my tower. Oh, you found me. Face checked. And I'll be like, oh, back in the trees. Good luck stunning me.
That's a lot of... Wait, can you do the face check again in that same spot?
Sure. We can do it wherever.
Here comes. Here comes.
Oh my gosh. Now I get vision again, and then I'm going to eat this tree and cut in its direction that you've never seen before. I'm just getting experience right now. So not only does this get me experience, but if I want to fight you, I can make you have to come look for me. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey buddy, what's up? And then I just stun you. I accidentally controlled the hero. Oh, you're just gonna break the trees? Okay, I get it.
Yeah, no, then I... Oh, I can't control your hero, but you can control mine. That's no fair.
Oh, that's right, because this is the hero I picked. Okay, right. So this is basically like the little battle that kind of happens for supports and offlaners. I could come in here and, hey, you were supposed to run in.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna assume for a moment that I am dire and I'm offlaning. I tend to kind of chill like this.
That's safe because it gives you distance from the left, where I'm likely to run as a support, because I'm likely to wrap around here to try to attack you. Yeah. But playing in the trees is the easiest way. If you just run through there and you have lots of tankiness and they only have like one support, they're going to spend all this time just chasing you. Whereas if you stand on open ground and fight, then you can't abuse them if they're bad at joking. And you're not going to be near creep wave because you're already so far up. This is so far up already because the creep wave should be down there by that one clump that you destroyed.
Yeah,
so this is too far. Whereas instead you could just start a game in offlane where at the start of the game you ignore bounty rune and you just run to the right here. And you just get down in these trees and you just sit here. Like if you really think the lane's going to be really hard, just sit down here. On? So you see where I'm standing right now?
Yeah.
You can just hide down here. I guarantee that at your MMR, you could just stand here all game and nobody would ever find you. And you would get experience from dying creeps. And people probably aren't going to even deny that much. So if you have a really tough lane, just stand on here and get levels. Because ultimately levels are a little bit more important. Whereas if they know you're in the lane, they're going to look for you and they're going to try to kill you. So there's like so many little things about vision that you can use, whether it's juking or trading hits. You can use it in your trading, in your juking, in your experience gain. All that stuff will make a big difference. And that's just a touch. And for now, you can basically figure all that stuff out. Use tangos to juke, you know, do different things, go places you weren't expecting. Oh, hey, create new paths. Like there's so many ways that you can juke in this game. And that's definitely one of the treasures about Dota.
Dude, that's awesome. So, okay, so let's talk homework. Things, I have a sensation that we might need 1 week focused on just reviewing and re-cementing.
Okay.
I don't know if this is now, but for instance, I still feel as though I am digesting the power curves and all the mechanics and processing of items stuff. So in that vein, I'm still going to be trying to play carries to just work on the idea of ramping that up. I want to be off-laning more as well. I'm basically going to be doing non-mid, non-flying into a rage.
Okay.
So this is like Spirit Breaker off-lane plus Wraith King or PA in safe lane.
That sounds good. Make sure you attack move when you play SB. It's super important because you only have so much charge stun from your first skill, and one less attack could mean you don't get a bash. And most times, if you get like one bash with your combo, you kill somebody. So attack moving is super important for SB. And even if they're stunned, I want you attack moving. Do you know what I mean by that? Like even if the target is stunned, you're moving, attacking, moving, like getting ready.
The other side around
exactly,
them. Yeah.
Getting ready for where they're gonna run. So attack moving is everything. If you're playing carry and your melee, get a quelling blade. If you're off lane, there's a lot of cases you can buy quelling as well, and I want you to use it to cut trees down when juking, or to use it to get places faster would be helpful.
Okay. And just fast question about itemization for PA. Almost always I get a poor man's shield and tango and just burn all my money on that right away. Would you recommend like stout quelling tango?
I would recommend stout, ring of protection, tango self. You can still buy poor man's, but you should complete at the side shop, and the purpose of the ring of protection is that you can make a fast Basilius so that you actually have mana. Because I watched the replay of you playing it last night, and you just didn't have mana. Basically, the only reason you did was because your ally gave you a clarity at one point. So, if you don't remember how the mechanics works, a Sage's Mask increases what your mana gain is by 50%. Yeah. And that's based on your intelligence. PA is not a smart hero. So, if you get a Basilius,
really dummy.
It gives you 0.65 per second. So, she probably only has, like, I don't know, 0.6 mana per second gain.
And that builds into Vladimir's? Is that right?
Correct. And you built one anyways. So, you should have just built it right at the start. And it gives you 7 damage, which is pretty good for the laning stage. So Ring of Protection you can't buy from the side shop, which is why you need to start with it. So you can buy Quelling Blade at the side shop, you can finish your Poor Man's, you can finish your Basilius.
Would you recommend trying to get a Quelling relatively early with PA? I've had trouble right at the very start of the game with laning.
That's one of the issues with Poor Man's, is that if you buy Poor Man's Shield, then you have Poor Man's Shield, you have Basie, you have Quelling. It like really stacks up heavily. But it kind of depends on the game. If you're against an offlaner or a dual lane that's going to right-click you a lot, then Poor Man's Shield is probably worth it. But Quelling is so good just because it helps you jungle neutrals so much faster. So if you do a lot of neutral jungling, you really need Quelling. Whereas if you're just laning, it's not a big deal. But generally you should buy it, almost always, on a melee carry, because there will be times that you jungle.
Yeah, because I mean, I was getting Quelling with Wraith King, and it just felt so much easier to lane.
Yeah, and some heroes have more or less damage. PA's is pretty good, and you can use Dagger. Whereas Wraith King can't throw stuns to get last hits, so that's probably the main reason.
I mean, you can. It's just that it's a new meta. It's a meta that hasn't evolved yet. But you know, when Google DeepMind develops Alpha Dota, we're gonna wind up seeing Wraith King's last hitting like non-stop with stuns. In fact, they're only gonna use stuns to last hit. It's gonna be crazy, dude.
Starting item builds will be like 12 clarity potions, and they'll just be every creep, boom.
Yeah, the Dota version of the shoulder hit.
So yeah, focus on juking, focus on attack moving. Make sure you cancel your spell animations. If you want, even before you queue for a game, just demo the hero, try canceling your spell animations. See what it's like. Just do it the difference. Shift queue your animations and then try canceling them. That should be your homework for every start of the episode.
So sick. Well, great. Is there anything else, or are we closing?
No, that's it. I'm good to go.
Okay, so once again, to all of you who are here, I'm going to be playing about 3 games, maybe 4 if they're really short, and then I will be hopping on over to Purge again, where Purge will do a review of just what the hell happened in the games and sort of analyzing what went right and wrong in the context of lessons that have happened. And then after that, it will be Purge doing a live coaching session, admiring my ability to...
I'm just going to shout attack move every 2 seconds. Attack move!
It's so weird, because attack move in Dota does not mean the same thing as attack move in RTS.
Attack move means you press A and you left-click the ground, correct?
Yeah, it is just the act of A left-clicking the ground, and the reason that's important is, well, I mean, I intuited it because you're like, look at this guy, attack moving. He's attacking and he's moving, and I'm like, I get it. In RTS, it is more often called stutter step.
Yeah, stutter step. Yeah, attack, because it's very rare that you specify that you're attack moving. It's very good for anti-juking. If you're chasing a juking hero, attack moving into the jungle is good, because if your hero ever sees them, they're like, oh, I saw a hero for the fractures, and the computer reacts and throws the attack. So yeah, that's very good when you're trying to kill somebody one hit away who's juking. But past that, it's like
so good.
It's a very passive thing in Dota. It's not very important.
And for all the people here, we just hit 12,000. Yay! This is the end of the first month of Day 9 Learns Dota. So yeah, this is
episode 5.
Yeah.
Was that the end of the first month?
Because episode 1 happens on day 0, so episode 5 happens at the end of the month, right? Because at episode 2 it's been 1 week.
Oh,
and episode 3
you're
it's
taking
been 2 weeks.
days sense. Okay, I was thinking that it's like 4 equals 1 month. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So yeah, to all the new folks who have joined and subbed, and welcome. It is great, and I'm going to go get coffee. I'm going to caffeinate. I'm going to hang up on you, Kevin. Thank you for this. I thought these clips were sick today. I love hospital Dota example.
Sandra did some good work today. He definitely did.
All right, so it's going to be a very short break. It's going to be about 60 seconds. So admire this graphic. Here we go. Peace out, Kevin. Yeah.